Trees of grace that carry my name. Every prayer that my mother planted still blooms when I
There were nights I wandered in the distance, tried to grow without the rain, but His mercy pulled me from the shadows and love brought me home again.
now I see the promise shining. Every tear watered my faith. I was lost but never forgotten. He was guiding every place. We are my roots return. My faith still stands. Planted deep in holy hands. Through every storm, His truth remains. I'm grounded. Amazing grace. Family of faith. Blood and divine. Love keeps running through the vine. No matter how far I've been turned, I find my peace when roots return. Back to the altar, back to the light, back to the Father who makes all things right. Every heartbeat, every birth, faith restores when roots return. Generations stand on prayer, heaven's legacy still there. I'm a branch, He's the vine, faith forever intertwined. My roots return, my faith still stands. Planted deep in holy hands. Through every storm, His truth remains. I'm grounded in amazing grace. Family of faith, blood and divine. Love keeps running through the vine. No matter how far I've been turned, home is where my roots return. Home is where my faith still burns. Home is where my roots return.
Looking for endless entertainment? Discover Beacon 333 Networks. Stream BTV and Kashmir TV not only on your computer and mobile devices, but also 24/7 on Roku. That's right, enjoy your favorite shows anytime, anywhere. Bring the best of Beacon 333 Networks family and faith television into your home now on Roku.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello. I'm Darnell,
I'm Angela.
and this is Garrison House on a breaking news
And
event.
we are live.
Yes.
And we are glad you joining us. And it's interesting events that transpired. And so we talked about this on our previous podcast. And so breaking news came around. And so now we are discussing it right now live. Yes, live.
Yeah, I actually said this was going to happen. I'm sort of have a mixed feeling on it. For many reasons. For some, my mix, we have a very, we don't 100% agree on this. Let's just
It's
say that.
amazing. It might surprise you what comes out of this conversation. So we're going to be going over. Also, we'll be discussing our own opinion of what we think is going on. Also, we're going to be going over the actual indictment that was brought against Don Lemon and the other co-conspirators.
Yeah, for me, and I told somebody I was texting someone. I said I have a mixed opinion on it. For me, I'm more the person because of media. Work in media, been part of media pretty much all my life. And there's some things. There is a little quiet code in media, and Don sort of did break it. However, at the same time, I understand the indictment. Reason why he got indicted. He may not understand. However, there are reasons. We'll go into that. Why I'm saying that, I didn't think he should be arrested. Personally, that's just me. I didn't think he should have been, but there's some things that he did that was sort of broke.
I think the line is what line did you cross? Did he cross a line when it came to, and also what is really they're talking about the First Amendment, freedom of the press, but what is that really stating? Did he actually violate not necessarily the amendment, but because the law, and how far did he push it? Was it really the First Amendment of the freedom of the press? Was that really, did he really did what he's,
Honestly, the First Amendment is, that's the rule of the land. That's the law of the land, basically. It's the law of the land. He essentially did kind of breach it. But like I said, this for me is mixed. However, he was indicted. So he wasn't that just
being indicted does not necessarily mean he's guilty either. It's just the fact that they found possible evidence that caused him to be charged for these crimes that he's been for these crimes, and we know that he's being charged for the FACE Act. And you want to look that up for me, babe, or you look at the First Amendment?
I was looking up the Constitution.
Okay, he's being charged for the FACE Act, FACE, and then also I believe, I don't know for sure 100%, but I thought it was the Deprive Act.
Okay, yeah. I all I know is I'm gonna bring this up real quick for everybody to understand the Constitution. Amendments 1 through 10. We're not gonna go through all of them. Basically, we've discussed this: Congress shall make no laws respecting the establishment of religion or the prohibiting of the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people to peacefully assemble and petition the government for redress of grievances. Now, for me, I'm gonna help y'all out here. For me, technically, freedom of speech is sort of part of your redress of grievances to the government. Because freedom of speech does not really, it exists, but it doesn't exist. You can't yell fire in a crowded room. So there is a freedom of speech, but in my definition, and sort of a little bit of my understanding is that was basically talking about, if you see that little punctuation there, that's all part of the government, the freedom of speech and the press and the right to people to assemble and petition the government of redress. So basically that's part of it. Religion and, that was a separate entity. So basically, to me, I may be wrong. I haven't read the Federalist Papers fully on this. I do need to pick up the Federalist Papers, but from my understanding, you do have a right to speak freely against the government without being persecuted.
Freedom of speech or of the press.
Right.
So that's kind of, they're saying freedom of the press. You have the freedom to do what you need to do as a press. However, there is some standards that you have to go by. Right. And that's what he's basically saying. Freedom of speech doesn't mean yell fire in a crowded room. Just like you can't interrupt
law enforcement
or anything like that to say, I'm press, I can do what I'm here. That's the reason why you could do this. You can report, you can be there, you can report, but you cannot interrupt. You cannot go past that yellow caution line. And so what we've been discussing, what we've been saying, and Don Lemon's been standing on it. I am pressed, but did he actually cross that yellow caution line?
Yes.
And basically, that's kind of what he did. He crossed that yellow caution line when he went into the church. You can say that you were just an innocent bystander. You were just going along with him to, because they say that this is what's going to be happening. But still, common sense is common sense, really. And so even though he did get charged for certain things, he did get charged. But however, one of the things is it's still up in, he still he haven't had his day in court yet. And that's basically what's going to happen. He has to have his day in court, and so they're going to give him his day in court, due process.
Yes,
the federal government charged him. Now it's up to he has to get into court, and they have to put their case. The federal government, the prosecutors have to put their case together, and then his defense attorneys will have to argue that this is wrong and this is reason why based on the law. And so that's where we are now. And right at this moment in time, Don Lemon did get released without bail.
He got bail, didn't he?
No.
Yeah, without bail.
He got released without bail. So it's not that he went free. It's just that the magistrate judge or the judge he was just booked, and they released him without they just released him. So it's not like, oh, he's all free now. Well, no, that ain't what that means. He just didn't have to put up no money in order to do it because judges feel like this is frivolous. But however,
well, one of the things that people are now, I'm going to pivot into the one person basically that happened at New Birth. Now, after Don Lemon has been arrested, you have people calling for that pastor to be arrested. The difference between what Don did, and I forgot the pastor's name. They've been talking about him. Another person we follow is talking about him. The difference is the pastor who went to New Birth was in the vestibule. I remembered it. He was out in the vestibule. Mm-hmm. He did not enter the sanctuary or disrupt worship services. So there's a big difference between what he did and what that activist group did. What the activist group did is they literally sat in the service, coordinated. They did a thing that we've seen happen personally. We witnessed that same tactic. They used the same identical tactic that one particular group in Detroit did, and basically had an outburst because they couldn't understand how could an associate pastor be part of ICE. But the thing is, you got to think about it like this. What gives you a right to question? So this gentleman who has a job working for the federal government, you mean to tell me you can't be a Christian and work for the government and ICE? And what got me is when I heard it, he wasn't even there. So the guy wasn't even there. Y'all should have said, you know what, he's not here. Let's just go outside in the parking lot when the service is over and let's just do our protest there. Had they done everything outside, it's 100% legal. If they would have done it, and I don't think that church had a vestibule, so they had. It's
like who made you Prophet Samuel?
Who made them an apostle?
Who made you Prophet Samuel to go and judge somebody? He wasn't Saul that you had to go and judge and find David to take over. No, that was the thing though. It's just that in their mindset, literally in their mind, they thought they were doing something right. They can confront this pastor, the associate pastor in his ministry, in his church, even though he wasn't there, that he can confront them and say, how can he be both a pastor and ICE agent? God said right. God set him in that position. And God did not come to you and say, "Hey, is it okay if I put this man as a pastor?" So that was, no.
Here's a question I would throw down. Well, how could Jesus be the son of God and the carpenter's son? Come on. We know the Bible said, people said no good thing comes from Nazareth. So people used to judge him. So what you're saying is you're doing the same judgment, saying that, oh, well, he can't be he's not really Christian because he works for ICE, and that's a group that was part of the whole thing that happened in Germany and Austria. And he's part of those troopers of people who are just snatching people out their homes. First of all, for those of you who don't realize that they're not snatching citizens out their homes. That's why are y'all continually saying this narrative? They're going in. We have one guy. I think I shared you the video. I don't have it. I don't have it on my thing. And I did. If I would have had it, I would have to edit it. This guy, I don't like talking about people, but if y'all remember Tales from the Crypt, those who are old enough, he said that, and forgive me, Lord, for talking about him. I almost asked for forgiveness, but he looked like the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. Oh, and he said, if ICE comes to my door, what he was going to do. And everybody that commented, including me, was like, I don't think ICE is even going to come to your door. Dude, you look like somebody, you look like the Crypt Keeper. I mean, that's how he looked. He looked just like the guy. I'm like, I said, Lord, I hope that's a filter this man had on.
Now, what they were supposed to, what they were supposed to do was, they were supposed to go, when they went into Minnesota, they were supposed to go pick up illegal aliens that were being detained in Minnesota jail, in the jails in Minneapolis. They were supposed to go and pick them up and then put them into the detention center in order for processing, and that's what they were supposed to do. It wasn't supposed to be an automatic sending them back to where they wanted. They just had to pick them up and so they can get their due process and when they send them to the detention center. But what was happening was the Minnesota government was releasing them back to not to the streets, but releasing them. And so what it would have took just maybe one or two men to go and pick them up out of the jails, now they had to go into the streets to go pick them up. And so that's reason why the ICE agents were in the neighborhoods and in the streets. They were trying to find the illegal aliens that were supposed to have been detained in the jails, but now they have to go into the streets to pick them up. So that's what. Right. Now instead of two people or one or two people to do it, they had to bring in other people, 15 or so plus or what have you, in order to first the group has to go get the person that they were trying to get in the neighborhoods, and then the other people were trying to help ICE. The other ICE agents were basically guarding them so that they would not get attacked by the protesters. So that's kind of what they were supposed to be doing. They were not just they didn't have a sheet and going door to door asking for papers or whatever or anything like that until later, I guess. I don't know. But that's kind of what they were doing. They were just basically supposed to have done that. They already had who they wanted to get. It's just the fact is because now it got a little bit more complicated when the government released them back into the streets and back to their neighborhoods.
Now, this guy went on the 6-hour and 47-minute live stream. This is the actual feed on his page. I'm not gonna play the audio because I don't know what Don's gonna say. Yes, this is actually live. Where he was at. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is him. I'm not sure if this is the day of, because there's a lot of snow.
Because I think the only thing they did was, I don't even know if they even had church the following Sunday. They didn't even have it. So basically, all they did was cause them to close the church services down because they probably just didn't have the service.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this.
I think this is afterwards because it wasn't.
No, this is actually what's going on. I think it was snowing there. I'm not sure if this is. I believe this is.
What's going on over there to the left?
I don't know if this is like another situation where he went in or after the fact. Let's hear the audio. Hear what's going on. So he did walk in there.
Rewind that back. So they were already in there talking mess. See, take it back to before he got to.
Before this?
Yeah, before that. Keep going back. Okay, now look over to the left. If you look over to the left, you can see people falling off the door.
Yeah, so technically this is, I've never seen this footage. I said, let me pull this footage up because sometimes we watch the media, we watch clips, and this is where my question, this sort of answers one of my questions about the indictment. And this is why I tell people I'm sort of conflicted about it, because looking at this right here, he was outside and they started coming out.
They started coming out. See, they falling out the doors.
People jumping out the doors. I mean, this
falling,
is,
slipping.
yeah, you can see that clearly. I wish I had my telestrator on. But you can literally see people running out the building thinking their life is in danger.
I mean, they're telling hands up, don't shoot. I'm like, oh my God.
So this is the actual footage that you can go to his site. This is not something this is literally on his site. So you go to his YouTube channel and watch it and see for yourself what he did.
Wow. He actually said,
and this is where
don't shoot. And then they probably were scared for their life, thinking somebody did have a gun, was about ready to shoot.
Yeah. Now this is the issue. Now, what we seen in all the presentations was that he was already in there. So he was actually outside. So he sort of followed the media guideline. So he did follow a press guideline. So that's why I tell people I'm conflicted about it, because everybody said, well, he went in, but go to his site. You can watch it and see it for yourself. He honestly was outside. And we all seeing this for the first time together. He was outside. His assistant walked in as people were running out, and then he told him, come on in. So in reality, he is in a journalistic mode. What got him in trouble?
He talking about hands.
And what got him in trouble was he has no backing of a network. He's considered a citizen journalist. Just like if we go somewhere, now we are a little different. We do have a platform that can be considered a network. We were over the air. We are going back over the air. So we are actually a platform that can do this, but we will still follow journalistic rules. We would not have, if I had a team, I would not have sent them in there. At this point, I would say, hey, we're not going in there at all. We'll wait. Because there was another news team. If you watch, another news team eventually showed up with their microphone. But this is what was happening inside that church. Now, for Don, he was there as a journalist, as you can clearly see. I know this is hard for some people to see. But he did come in as a journalist. What got him in trouble is he had no backing of a network. He doesn't have a major network with attorneys that would have, if it would have been really live on a network, the attorneys would have got on the phone instantly, say, you need to get out of there.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, he went there. But he didn't, I don't think he participated. So
it's kind of like basically everything was in chaos at this point in the stage. So then he started to ask questions to people, even to the pastors and all that. So that's kind of what they were saying. So now everybody's just kind of just standing around looking. I was like, why are these crazy people coming and disrupting our church? And so I think he just now at this point, that's when he started to ask these questions as he was in the church.
Right. So, and I know why he's leaving this footage up. I mean, if I got in trouble, I'm leaving the footage up so everybody can see the events of that day, what really happened, how he did. I know people are going to be upset. He did follow journalistic protocol. The issue is he just didn't have money. He followed the protocol, but he didn't use wisdom in following the protocol.
Yeah, it's basically, as we're going to go through the indictment here in a minute, basically it's because he knew what was going on. Right. He knew he proceeded to go and tell him and follow him, and things that he stated in his live on the way there.
Right.
He was there saying that we can't do this, we can't do that.
And this is 45 minutes later.
And so that is kind of what is going on. There he is right there. There he is. So so and things that he said in the car on the way there, keep up. We have to make sure we're keeping up. We're going to go all in together. And because he was saying all that, and he was doing it, so technically that's the reason why they pretty much said he had something to do with it.
Right. He was there from the staging of it this is the staging. So when we came in, so it was like they were like 30 minutes away. And they drove there because he actually has them in the car. So he was actually live.
Right.
From
all
this
the
point
time. Right.
all the way to when he made it to the destination. And the problem is this. At this point, he should have been thinking, see, I'm going to come off of it because this is more like, hey, maybe he's trying to do it more like a documentary. That's how he's trying to do it. So if you're saying I'm coming in as a journalist, This is more of documentary. Now you're recording it for documentary purposes. That is where that thin line between journalist and person creating a documentary is doing. And in my opinion, he was safe until he really should have notified somebody. Hey, we're getting ready to go in here. You may want to I want to make sure I'm protected. He should have called his attorney while he was in the car instead of laughing. He should have been on the phone with his attorney, making sure that what he's going to do won't get him in trouble. It looks better on evidence, why? Because he has the whole thing from getting in his car, from this meeting to driving. So go to his page, look at it for yourself. And this is why I tell people we live off a world of sound bites. And these people, again, and I don't want to be racist, but you have two black women.
What?
This is the two black women leading this whole thing. And those are the two that got arrested. Now, the other black woman, she's a school board member. Actually, there's a couple more black folk there. I didn't see all of them. So the two in the front were arrested. She's a school board member, so she was arrested, and the other one was arrested. The other guy who was on the side, who was doing a lot of talking on TikTok or wherever socials, he got arrested because he talked too much. But everybody in this video, pretty much, I believe, have been indicted, and because the first arrest was not an indictment. That was just, hey, we're going to arrest you.
Right.
And when she was released, everybody was celebrating and said, it's not over. They're going to indict you. Because once it goes to because they can just convene a grand jury. If the court is going to not take you serious, they'll say, well, we'll just convene a grand jury. Grand jury, you see how quick it happened.
Well, when they thought she was released, oh, she's been released because the judge says we didn't have. No, it doesn't. They just released her without bail, basically. Right. But they just threw her back in the wild, and told her to, okay, you can leave now. But but that hasn't stopped them from actually pressing charges. Well, and because right. I mean, if anything, I don't know about this whole FACE Act or the Weather Deprive Act or whatever act. It's still trespassing. They did trespass. Whether Don Lemon's being charged with this, they could have put another overact on it, talking about it could be trespassing, because technically that's kind of also what it is, federal trespassing. Do you want to go through some more? Or
I'm just scrubbing through to see what all he did. Okay. And I'm looking at, he honestly, excuse the scrubbing that I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure my audio's not on. He actually, after he left there, he jumped in his car and he headed to other venues. So he was doing this as a journalist. He was on the scene. He was out there covering the whole thing for 6 hours, 47 minutes, and 50 seconds. So he was on the ground. That was just his first stop that he heard about he alleged, because I haven't heard the video, but allegedly, that was like Detroit in the back. But anyway, allegedly, he heard about they were going to do this big thing. And so he headed over to where they were meeting, staging to enter the church. And he said, so technically he was there as a journalist, a documentary journalist. I was going to say like that. He was doing it as a documentary.
He went in and he stated that he was flying. He flew into Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. He basically said, I want to know where the action is.
Right.
Somebody gave him a flyer about what was going on. And so what the group is, it's supposed to be in a group where they go and do like surprise visits. I can't remember exactly what the word term they said, maybe in the indictment, but that's what they do. They go in there, do surprise visits without notice, and basically catch them off guard and starts to speak and protest. So he gets the flyer. So then he goes to the staging area. And so he said, hey, sounds good. Let's go and see what's going on with it. So he goes into the staging area. And then after that, he proceeded to go live. And here you go live and talk about it. Then he proceeded to say, well, I can't tell you exactly where they're going. I can't tell you who they are. Which you don't have to. That was a freedom of press right there, because he doesn't have to tell who they are or what they were going to do. Okay. However, then that's kind of where it is. But then what really, as we're going to go into this indictment, and then we can talk about each act. So with the indictment, we're looking at the fact is this is who this is the objective of the conspiracy. These are the people who are being charged. As you can see here, we have Don Renaud Lemon, which is our Don Lemon, and then they had to redact. So it was sealed, but I believe once they had to redact these names, that's probably why they reopened it.
No, what's so interesting? I'm curious who's redacted.
Right. They redacted. Yeah, 2 people are already redacted from this list here.
There was another media outlet there later on. If you look at other footage,
Georgia, I think Georgia Fort was was one of the media outlets that were there. Georgia Fort, because as we're gonna go in there, we're gonna talk about it here. So those are the ones who are being indicted. The one that they're really talking about was, let's see here, it was the woman Chantel was the first, and Nikema was the second one, I believe. Those 2 were the main ones who first got indicted, and then the other crazy guy that I don't know who that guy.
I think it was William Scott, because he started talking.
Right.
Basically, it's like this: when you do something wrong that's federal, don't get on camera talking smack. And don't say, "Well, my lawyer said they had nothing." You may want to get a new attorney.
All right, so they basically said that these people right there conspired and agreed with one another and with other persons known and unknown to the grand jury to injure, oppress, threaten, and intimidate multiple persons, including the clergy, staff, and congregates of the city's church, in the free exercise and enjoyment of the rights and privileges secured to them by the laws of the United States, and because of such persons have exercised such rights, namely exercise the First Amendment right for basically they were exercising their right to have church.
Their First Amendment.
They were exercising their right to have church, but yeah, you're saying these people on top here came in and interrupt their right to have church. So here it's come up manner and means. So in order to achieve their objective, these people, in order to achieve their objective of the conspiracy, so they said defendant Armstrong and Allen, which is our main 2 women that started it, together with other persons unknown to the grand jury, organized the Operation Target the Church, which they dubbed as Operation Pull Up. Okay, so that's what they did.
And Operation Pull Up. That's her main. That's what she calls her whole thing is Operation Pull Up.
She goes to places unannounced and basically does what she just did to the church, and promoted it on the internet via Instagram and Instagram accounts. So she did this by promoting it. This is what she's going to be doing, and she promoted it on internet and Instagram. All defendants met at a shopping center and pre-op briefing. Okay,
which we saw.
Justice for Renee, go!
And then here we have, then we show that who was with them, advised other co-conspirators, including defendants Kelly, Lemon, Lundy, Cruz, Ford. So basically, they basically said because Don was there, he was part of the co-conspiracy, even though he was saying that he was there as reporting only, but still he was there basically going live and telling them what they were doing. So at this point, they don't see him as reporting. As you go further down into it, you'll see why they thought this way. Overacts. So what is an overact? Basically, overacts are what was done to come with this indictment. What did they do to get charged for the indictment? So like RICO. How do you get charged for RICO? So you have to have overacts, which basically coercion, kidnapping, sex trafficking, or anything like that, money laundering. Those can be all considered overacts for RICO. So that's what overacts are. Overacts are things that would cause them to get charged for basically the FACE Act. So that's what overacts are. All right, so overact number 1 on January 17, basically they had a flyer and on 2 Instagram accounts controlled by her Instagram accounts, both women's Instagram accounts, advertising an anti-ICE action dubbed Operation Pull Up. So that's the first overact. Okay, I got it.
So basically what they did is, while she gets that, what they did in this part right here, this was the Operation Pull Up meeting at the shopping center where they actually, now the thing is, you don't post, sometimes now I'm gonna tell you, they do use a particular app, I'm not gonna say the name of the app. They do use an organizing app. Now, why wasn't she using the organizing? I mean, if you're gonna do something. Now, what gets me is this happened on the 17th. They were indicted the next day, and then that judge said there was nothing here. And it's like, well, if they're indicted when they doing the release, he tries to scald the government.
They were arrested, but they were not necessarily indicted.
The full indictment. The indictment started on the 18th, and it was handed down recently.
So they went. I mean, the only thing they didn't have the Overact 1 through 8. I mean 2 to 8. So I can't. So it went straight to 9. But you can see up here they say they stayed bumper to bumper. This must be the Overact number 8. They stayed bumper to bumper, making sure everybody gets through the light and confirm that everybody had their address. Okay, so but Overact 9, at the pre-op briefing, Defendant Armstrong provided instructions and operational guidance to her co-conspirators, including the following. The first wave of agitators should enter the church essentially in undercover capacity, and so that's basically what she was doing. So Overact
overt. That's
overt.
That's like overt, covert. That's like secrets. That's some doggone. Yeah, that's overt. That's clandestine. What she did.
Right. And then they said B, they should be sit together, and they should not sit together and should not wear anything that is activist identifying them. And C, those who had anything activism identifying should wait and come in with the second wave of people.
See, overt, I mean, I know you're doing it, but overt 11 is what got him in trouble.
Yeah.
Number 11 is what got him.
Right. So his name shows up. So technically, he may not get charged for each of these overts, but anything that says his name in it, that's how he's being charged. Yeah. So overt number 11, while en route to the church, defendant told Defendant Lemon that they had to catch up to the others, and the Defendant Lemon replied, "Let's go catch up." And because he was still live streaming, Lemon instructed redact. So the redacted person must have been one of his people, which
might have been the brother who walked in the church.
That's what I was saying. And an unidentified male, don't give anything away. Okay, so he's online right now and telling him, don't give anything away. Don't divulge information about the operation. And advise his audience, we can't say too much. We don't want to give it away. No. So they're saying that that's by him doing this is him participating in what was going on.
Yeah, that's what got him. One thing, I have to say that was a mistake he made. I got an internal joke I'm not going to share here. But, there's some things he should not be participating in. Those who know me know what I'm talking about. And you gonna get caught. It's just inevitable. There's a thing that happens, and he just got caught up in it, and it happens. It just happens. Overt action 11 is what got him in trouble.
And there's still some more. So then 12, continually on in the morning, all of the defendants together with other co-conspirators entered the church. Okay, so they entered the church, and then entered the sanctuary with the first wave positioning themselves. So they had the first wave. So they already had it. The first wave went in already. Yep, so then,
the text.
And then the defendant, Armstrong and Allen, commencing the disruptive takeover operation. So then then Armstrong and Allen came in and started to shout and do their shouting. So then here's number 13. As the pastor was beginning his sermon, Defendant Armstrong interrupted the service with a loud declarations about the church harboring a director of ICE and indicating that the time for judgment have come.
I would ran out to church. Look,
that's what happened. That's what they were saying at the church.
You said
on the side of the church. And then talking about hands up, don't shoot. So you could see when we first started, the people running out the side, people are falling on the snow and ice trying to run out of the church. So so that's what happened. Right, it was like, they ain't saying.
We're going inside.
Right.
Definitely trolls in the chat. It's okay.
And then it says here, they quickly caused the situation in the church become chaotic, menacing, and traumatizing to church members.
Now, what's so interesting is y'all heard a little sound bite when I had my iPad audio on. He says there were trolls in the chat, meaning the officials already knew about this. That's why this happened so quick. You were live. That's the problem with, I've always told people the dumbest thing that we do is we live stream our crimes. When you live stream your crimes and under the guise of journalism, you did cross a line there.
And then, so then here we tell you an overt act number 14. They started to state, hands up, don't shoot, and stand up, fight back. And so they started to say this in this congregation. Why did they come out? Why did you feel like you had? Basically said ice out, hands up, don't shoot. And I guess they were saying that because of the whole good thing at the time. I think this is before. This is before what happened with the other guy.
Oh, here's something we didn't see. We scrubbed past this. Does he go in?
Mm-hmm.
Does he go in?
He goes, they set up the camera. He probably was trying to do all this, making it seem like it's like trying to make it all fancy and make it theatrical and let's shoot him going in. They probably were going to sit there and come back and start cutting stuff and making it seem like he's doing all this.
I watched this while you can keep reading because I was watching this. I said, if he walks in that church before the people come out, yeah, you are totally you're totally guilty because you walked in. But continue.
Okay. And then we have the overt act number 15. Here's his name again. While inside the church, defendants Armstrong, Allen, Kelly, Lemon, redact, Lundy, Cruz, Fort, and redact, oppressed, threatened, and intimidated the church congregants and pastors by physically occupying most of the main aisle and rows of chairs.
Let's see if they got audio here. Let's listen and see.
Know the word and cherish the word as a word. Make us bound in love. Seated. We invite you to invite us
in there.
John. Need some more seats. We do have some seats available in the sides here. The transept, a few seats open.
Basically, he's probably telling them you can sit anywhere you want. He just thought they were just here for service.
The Gospel of John, chapter 3.
This is like, we got people here.
Excuse me, Pastor. You say that we ask the Lord to stay in your house, to stay in
Hey, Meta, record. So activists are now
She lied.
church. And they are protesting, surrounded the church on the inside.
He said,
They have found out that one of the
shame.
pastors
That's not what she said.
Yeah.
We just heard it.
Right.
here in
We
the
just heard
city
it. Now
and the
watch how
area.
people are coming out the side door. Right?
See?
Flying out the
People, right.
people exiting and running out, falling on the ice. So she didn't say shame. She remember it. So yeah, he is guilty. He is guilty. I'm gonna pause that out. He is guilty on it. In my opinion, now as I'm seeing it from.
Because it looks like he was there as recording the incident himself along with the group of people. He was there for the recording of the whole incident. That's what it was. That's what it looks like. And him live streaming it. So it doesn't look like he was there as a reporter. It looks like he was part of the whole thing and he was recording it for prosperity, sake.
Yeah, because if you're reading the overt action, let me scroll back because I'm sort of still. It may change my opinion here on his guilt. After seeing that what he did, he walked in before. Because here's how the system looks at it. Here's how people how a court and grand jury will look at this. They saw Lemon walk in, and once he walked in, that is like a trigger that, okay, go. The pastor, we all heard faintly him saying, okay, we have other seats available. He was being very nice. He was being very cordial.
Right.
And all of a sudden she just said, excuse me. But see, that's not what she said on the press.
Nope.
You all just heard again, when you hear people spin, now, I've been in media long enough. I've been part of reverse spinning things that was the correct spin. I've never done anything to cover spin, but I've been part of damage control, as we would call it. You know, making sure the spin is redirecting it back to where the correct narrative. So this is what they're doing is she's spinning it to say, well, no, I did this, this, and this. Well, Don Lemon had his microphone on
all that time. He went in there with his mic, even though the camera wasn't
outside.
in there. He went in there with his mic, and everybody can hear everything. So that's what they were saying. They were saying so they were basically saying is that you did not go there as in capacity as a reporter or as media. You live streamed it. You told them what was going on. You told people what's going to be happening. You stuck by them. You followed them. It's as if you had a cell phone in your hand recording these things on your live stream. That's what they were trying to say. That's what they were doing. This is what they were saying, and that's what happened.
Now I believe our redacted person is this gentleman.
It's possible. We're not going to say it is, but however,
he is visible.
Right.
Now he may have been. They may have normally redactions. Sometimes they may have taken him out of it because
right.
he was just he was there as an assistant.
Right.
He didn't really. He's
right.
not a big enough fish.
Right. I think that's what it was. He was there as
from the
right. He was just there because
he's paid.
Right. So
I'm working.
I'm working. So I think that's probably why they had to.
He just had a good attorney that said he's an employee.
So right. So here's the override number 23 with all co-conspirators standing nearby. Defendant Lemon, the redacted person, and Ford approached the pastor and largely surrounded him and stood in close proximity to the pastor in an attempt to oppress and intimidate him and physically obstruct his freedom of movement while Lemon peppered him with questions to promote the operations message. I got a clip of that. I didn't need you to get out of there so I can get the clip of it.
Okay.
I got the clip of it.
You got the clip?
I got the
Okay,
clip.
I'm zooming back to us.
Okay, so I do have that clip of when that
happened.
happened. I do have that clip. I think I saved it. Oh, hold on. Let me check. I got it in here. Did I save it?
So here's one.
Oh, here it is, right here.
I remember that one.
But there were folks who
I have to take care of my.
Oops.
in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble.
Okay, I'm going to take it back. So this is what they were talking about, peppering
This is unacceptable.
peppering him with.
It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt.
I hit the wrong button, y'all. Hold on one second. Hitting too many buttons here. Here we go.
Okay, but listen, we live in
Okay, are we ready, honey?
Yes, we are.
It's shameful. It's
Bring it
shameful
down.
Yeah, you gotta turn
to
volume.
interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
but there were folks who
I have to take.
So he basically said it's shameful to interrupt. And he then. Okay, but this is the part that really got him.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here.
You hear that? I'll be really respectful. Please don't push me. That's what got him.
That's why we're here.
That's what got
Do
him.
you think Jesus would be understanding?
Okay, so and here's another person he was interviewing.
But did you try to talk to them? It depends on what I did, but not in my house. That's a whole different thing. I think these people would go inside of anybody's house.
This is a house of God.
Which makes it everybody's house.
Yes, it is. But in a house, people don't yell at each other.
Yeah, but there was a lot of yelling in my house growing up. We still loved each other.
But this is a house of God.
It doesn't necessarily mean that yelling is the answer, right?
See, this is the problem with him.
This is a church. He's not focusing the fact that this is a house of worship. This is a church. This is not a person's home that they're having a gathering of a gathering where you're talking about a prayer meeting. No. This is a house of worship. That's the guy was saying. This is a house of God. This is showing love. We're not here shouting. Well, they're shouting at my church, at my home. But that's the point. The guy just said, this is a house of God. Why are you in the house of God making up all this mess and all this noise? This is not what you're supposed to be here for. We are here to deliver a message. If you had a problem with his message, if you had a problem with him saying whatever he had saying about his message, is one thing. But you went in there for a purpose that had nothing to do with the message that pastor was preaching over the pulpit.
Yeah, because here it is.
Even if he didn't like the message that he was preaching over the pulpit, you still didn't have no right to be in there anyway.
He didn't even preach.
He didn't even have time.
The service, really, praise and worship has ended. They walked in, but here it is, a little bit louder.
Which we do every Sunday, and we were interrupted by this group of protesters. Yeah. We asked them to leave, and they obviously have not left. So.
What do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Okay, pausing right there. The Constitution does not give you a right to yell fire in a building. Essentially, that's what they just did. This right here is not freedom of speech. This is not the First Amendment. This is not a government building. This is would be considered a private building. Don Lemon's mistake was he says public. No, it's private. Though you may think the public is welcome, but it's still a private entity. So that was one error that got his behind indicted. Let's carry on.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here.
Secondly, he was not touching him. My battery just had my thing. But secondly, he was not really touching him. And it's just like when she just tapped me. Technically, he was not touching him at all. He was just basically like, hey, he's trying
to, you talking, so he's kind of just like put his hand on his, respectfully, don't push me.
And let's carry on, even though my battery on my earpiece is, wow, I forgot to.
Okay, that's why we're here. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay,
I have to take care of my church and my family. So
while you continue doing your thing, I'm gonna try to get this thing batteried up. But just in that alone, that's the unedited version, and
So that was what they were talking about, the overact number 15. Where he oppressed, threatened, and intimidated their church congregants and pastors by physically occupying most of the main aisle and chairs. I think that was one. Let me go to the next one here. Oh, hold on. I gotta.
I think I have a spare.
So it's on somebody else's site. So I'll
come back to you.
That's fine. I got it. That's all right. So near the front of the church. And then engaging in menacing and threatening behavior, chanting, yelling loudly, pastors and congregants, and so on and so forth. While inside the church, defendants stood with other agitators in and around the main aisles. And then let's see here, number 17, overact number 17. While inside the church, defending Lundy. So they're talking about Lundy here. I believe we're talking about, I think, going into number 20. Let's see here, Lemon. So here it is, number 20. Defendant Lemon told his live stream audience about congregants leaving the church and about a young man who Lemon could see was frightened, scared, and crying. And Lemon observed that the congregant reactions were understandable because the experience was traumatic and uncomfortable, which he said he was the purpose. So basically he's witnessing all this stuff. He's mentioning over his live stream, these people are scared, these people are crying, these people are frightened, which there you go. So then number 21, as the operation continued, defendant
we shouldn't be beating people up off the street, and we should be abiding by the Constitution.
Oops, sorry.
As the operation continued, Lemon acknowledged the nature of its
What
of
you're
it
doing
by
so.
expressing
I don't want
surprise
an interview right now.
that the police hadn't
I don't
yet
want an interview. I just want to
arrived
tell
at
you
the
guys I
church.
love you. I don't need the interview right now because I want to be with my son. It's Sunday.
I'm sorry, you know the audio was on.
Okay. So here we go. So as the operation continued, Lemon acknowledged the nature of it by expressing surprise that the police hadn't even shown up yet, and admitted knowing that the whole point of this operation is to disrupt.
Wow, it's actually on the screen right here as you were saying. It actually came up on the screen that he says the police had not showed up yet. We're actually at this point where he literally said that.
And then now the church is all cleared out, the lights are down, and the police still hasn't shown up. I mean, literally, I mean, I'm just like, did anybody bother? That's why I always wonder. I said, did anybody call? Here's the live stream going on. We had trolls in the live stream. Police hasn't even shown up yet. And Lemon was talking about it, that they haven't shown up yet. And then number 22, Overt Act number 22. While the takeover operation was underway, Defendant Lemon asked Defendant Armstrong, who is the person that we should talk to, is there a pastor or something? And she pointed towards the front of the church, but noted the pastor might have ran away. Okay, so Lemon then went back to the Armstrong and asked her, well, who should we talk to? So here we are. So he's trying to find places to find out how he can. My mind went off too, so that's kind of what happened too.
Well, yeah, we're gonna have to keep on going. What we probably could do is go find some batteries real quick, but we can do this without our earpieces because we just have to not shout.
Right.
But, these batteries, I guess we just ran into the battery life of batteries, and there's none up here. So, but we're gonna keep going.
So on the overt number 23, with co-conspirators standing nearby, Defendant Lemon and Ford, and they've got the redacted person, approached the pastor and largely surrounded him. So I think that was when the intimidation, which we just aired before.
Right.
So this is what they're talking about here. So I guess on 22, when he asked Armstrong, who should he talk to? And who should we go and talk to about this? And then Armstrong pointed to the pastor who was in the front of the church. So then over 23, this is when he went into actually talking to the pastor and start peppering him with questions to promote the operation's message. So that's what he was saying. So he talked to the woman, asked the woman who he should talk to. The woman told him he may want to go talk to the pastor. So then he went to the pastor and starts peppering the pastor with all the questions that we just saw where he touched her. And then that's where number 24 came in. While talking with the pastor, Lemon stood so close to the pastor, caused the pastor's right hand to graze Lemon, who then admonished the pastor, please don't push me. So that's what that happened. So that's how that happened. So then number 25, although the pastor told Lemon others to leave the church, Lemon and the other defendants ignored the pastor request and continually and did not immediately leave the church.
Yeah, see, that's a problem here. Now, I'm laughing. You may have seen me laugh. I'm not sure they can see it. The comment, I'm one of those guys who goes to the comment section. And one person says, so nice of you to get a clear images of the protesters' faces. It will make prosecuting them much easier. And people say, I'm not a fan of this approach. Scary for any children at the church. It feels aggressive to come into someone's church to confront.
It's aggressive when you're talking about ice out and you're talking about hands up, don't shoot in a sanctuary where you hear that, you're thinking somebody might come in there and start shooting. And we had where churches were shot up just a few years back. We had one incident here in Michigan where somebody went into a church and started to try to shoot up a church.
And he found out real quick.
So yes,
somewhere we don't know.
So it was scary. It's a scary moment.
What afterlife world he's in, but he's gone.
It's a scary moment. It's a scary moment. And the wording that they choose was not the proper wording that you should be shouting. knowing that people are churches are being what's been going on with churches lately and violence. And you're using those terms that were based on the fact with Floyd, or not, was it Floyd? Or I don't know. No, Floyd was I Can't Breathe. But just those words alone, you're saying that you see my hand. I mean, you can't say stuff like that nowadays, whether you were there, whether it was one person, two people, you cannot say stuff like that in a crowded area like that without thinking that there might be some form of weapon. That's the reason why they were running. Those kids, people were running outside.
They didn't know what was going on.
They were running outside of the church, slipping on ice and snow because they were fearful for their lives.
And not to mention, he also has a possible civil suit from those people.
Right. I would sue the pants off this man.
They're now, this is one of the things you got to think about. You're a citizen journalist. And if you do not have any liability, forget the insurance that you should be carrying. If
bonded liability insurance or something.
If you're not carrying bonding or liability insurance, you're on the hook for millions of dollars in a lawsuit. He is going to get sued civilly, and he may somehow get out of this indictment. However, there will be civil suits if they're not already working on civil suits. So there will be a lot of settlements. He's going to feel the pain because you literally see people who fell. All it takes is to say, "I was hurt when I slipped." They're not going to go after the church. They're going to go after him because he's the one who has more money than they have. So they're not going to go after the woman. They may name her, however, because he has deeper pockets, they're going after the man that has more money. Now, I'm also reading the comments, and so many people, I'm not going to put it on the screen. So many people are scripturally dumb. They say, well, Jesus also taught in the temple against hypocrisy. A pastor who is also part of ICE is the ultimate hypocrite.
Why?
But he's not.
Why?
So because somebody has let me tell y'all something. I hate, don't let me offend anybody, but even being in a union could be hypocrisy. Any
job you do.
Any job is a job is hypocrisy.
It's doing something
that goes against,
or what you thinking. Right.
Now, there's nothing wrong with the union, but people use that as an example. So being part of a union can be hypocrisy, because we just had a conversation where a particular talk show host, she kept her show going, and the unions got upset with her, called her all kinds of names. Drew Barrymore during the strike. So you can be called a hypocrite because you don't go along with the program. Being a hypocrite, the problem is somebody says, I'm just reading these comments. So that's what somebody says. A pastor in favor of law and order is a hypocrite. Do we get to pick and choose what laws apply to us or just illegals? ICE doesn't make laws. They're enforcing bipartisan immigration laws on the books for decades. Don't like the immigration laws being enforced? Go protest your representatives and do their job and make a different law. That's who you're supposed to be protesting. If that's where the First Amendment is in play. The First Amendment is not, so like I said, Don, my man, you were wrong. Respectfully, you were wrong. And I had no problem calling him to the mat on that. He was wrong. And, some things he said that it's our First Amendment right. No, it's not your First Amendment right to interrupt the service. It's your First Amendment right to report the events of the service. Now that I've seen what you live streamed, cuz, brother, nephew, whatever, I don't have your back, man. I mean, I don't. I can't have your back after seeing that you walked in the process of it. You were the trigger to if I was somebody and I saw this footage, because this was part of your indictment. I'm just gonna say it. Your live feed is your indictment. That's what got you. And because anybody who said in the grand jury room, they're in their mind, because this is my thinking. They're saying, well, by him walking in, he was the trigger because one, he was on live. These people knew he was live. Two, somebody communicated to him, don't say where we're going, because they knew he was streaming live.
Because it was talking about the first wave and then the second wave. So when he walked in, he came in technically on that second wave. So that's what got him. And then after the second wave, then that's when they shouted, and then that's when the assistant came in there too, and then that's when the camera guys came in. So I'm assuming those probably were the two redacted people. Now I'm not saying it was theirs. I think it could have been because it probably was three. Because he probably was three people, and so there was because you got to remember because he had somebody to drive it. Plus he was probably talking. So it could have been. It could have been right because it could have been. So we don't know for sure. So we're not going to. We can hypothesize because we assume that there was probably what it was.
Because looking at the footage, we can clearly see.
So that's what got him, because they were saying was the first wave came in and then they were supposed to come in on the second wave. So when Lemon went in on the second wave and had his mic open, and then that's when the whole incident started to go down. So technically, that's kind of how they got him. Yeah. And then they were saying that on the overt act number 26. After causing most of the congregants to flee, some of the defendants and the agitators engaged in a chant proclaiming, "We shut this down. Who shut this down? We shut this down." So basically they were saying was they went into the church, they started to disrupt what was going on, and then once everybody started to flee and run, they started to say, "We shut this down." Based on our protesting and based on what we did, we shut this place down. It's basically like you took over their church. And basically that's what kind of happened. You took over the church. So that's kind of here. And then they were saying that they were trying to go to the children's church area, childcare area, but the agitators were blocking them to even getting their children. So, wow. And then on the overt act number 28, at one point, defendant Lemon posted himself at the main door of the church, and he was confronting everybody at the church. Okay.
Yeah, I'm verifying something somebody made in a comment. I'm one of those people who like to verify, and I'm trying to find out. They said a journalist was arrested during the January 6th. I don't recall that happened. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, they were. Several journalists were detained or arrested while covering the January 6, 2021, while I was at the dentist's office, Capitol protest, but none was charged with conspiracy to breach the building. So yeah, there were journalists arrested for January 6. They were covering it, but that's necessarily. But so they were there as they were covering it, right?
So it wasn't like. But the thing is, though,
they got him. I see why he got it. Because what's the key word? None were charged with conspiring to breach the building for the January 6th. That's why they didn't get. That's why they were arrested. They were detained and released. Don Lemon conspired to breach the building.
Even though he said I was just there as a observer, because you particularly stated that they were going to go on the first wave and they're going to go on the second wave. And Lemon went on the second wave. And they feel like he was part of it because even as he was live streaming, he told while they were driving, he made sure they told him, keep close. We don't want to lose them. And telling his people, making sure you don't say nothing much about it online. And so that's what got him, because now they're saying is that he was part of this whole thing. And you were not there in the capacity as a reporter. You were there as a capacity as one of the agitators that specifically were going to do this. So that's what they're saying, because what you did. And then once you were in the church, you were saying that you were not leaving. You did not let the pastor go. And because the pastor was so close to you, you were saying you told him not to touch you, basically back off, and continually started to pepper him while he was trying to get away. and he would continue to ask questions. You're telling him that the church was not, you're distinguishing the fact that because it's not a church, it's a building, and it's a building that they had the right to go in there and be able and say anything, just like you felt that you had a right to go in there and make, and we already know what happened. You asked the woman, Armstrong woman herself, asked her, who should I talk to? And she pointed to the pastor. So you went and talked to the pastor. So it's one thing, right? Whether you were trying to, if you were reporting, you would have just went to ask anybody, not asking her who he should talk to, and to bring the point, to drive the point across, which that's what they saw. People are defending Lemon, saying, "Oh, it's a freedom of speech. What is wrong with them?" Trying to say that because he's a man of color, because that's the reason why they're after him. Y'all had nothing to say when Diddy got thrown in jail. Y'all had nothing to say when we had Shannon Sharp, R. Kelly, and then all these other black artists out there or celebrities out there who are getting indicted, who are getting charged for just stuff, but yet y'all had nothing to say about that. But when Don Lemon got charged, and you're saying, "Oh, they were wrong. You're wrong," and blah blah blah. Well, I mean, y'all don't have y'all need to read. Y'all need to listen, because y'all didn't care. That's the problem, because all these celebrities are trying to defend Don Lemon. Y'all didn't care what's going on in that church. Y'all didn't care what was going on in Minnesota. Y'all didn't care about what really would happen. The 6-hour feed. I don't know how long that feed he did. They didn't care about it. They didn't care about what was going on until Don Lemon got charged. And then that's when everybody want to jump on the bandwagon and say he was wrong, you're wrong. Now, we all finding that out by just reading the indictment itself and seeing, okay, we could see why he was being charged. So my thing is, he has his day in court now. He has to prove, his defense attorney now has to prove that he was not there in order as a protest or agitator, but he was there in capacity as a journalist. But you have to prove it. That's what they're saying. They have to prove that. No. Now that's his day in court. And that's what it was.
I had to jump on here and circle the man there. He was one. That's the other one that got arrested. Now I'm about to offend some people. And no offense, but offense to be taken. You can't use fascism to stop fascism. You can't say this is fascism using, because people don't understand what they did is textbook fascism. When they went into the church and did what they did, that's textbook fascism. And they always say, we're going to end fascism, but you're using fascism to stop, to actually mess with somebody. So they literally use fascism to do what they're doing. But they always wear these shirts. We're going to end fascism, but you're using fascism. That is textbook fascism, what they're doing.
And then that was just count one I read. This is count two. That too. Yeah, it was count two. All defendants, count two.
Yeah, I'm starting to really think I'm because that young man is in every. He just got. I think look here. As somebody who's young and you in the heat, I understand you working with Don Lemon. You got this gig, and so you trying to be a field producer. You're a field producer for him, and you just got caught up. He's in every single shot, and that's what got hit. I'm not gonna say that's him. But that's why possibly there's people who are on the indictment, but you see him a lot, and that's how come I'm saying what I'm saying on that.
And then it said, what's that caption? So what happened next, Nikema? What did he say? What did he say there?
And the police did show up. I can bring it up.
think that the people who worship here will have to decide which side are they on. The side of the Lord, truth, righteousness, or justice, or the side that pretends to be on the Lord while harboring someone who is helping to perpetuate evil on our community. The guy who oversees ICE agents. How dare you claim to be a minister of Jesus? I am a reverend, I am a lawyer, I am an activist, and I stand on the side of freedom, justice, truth, and righteousness.
Did you,
period.
You can show some of that, Mike, too, as well. Did you try to talk to the leadership of the church?
You saw me try directly to talk to the leadership when I disrupted the church service. And he tried to...
Who gave you the right to go in there and do that? Nobody gave you the right to do that. Nobody stated that you were a prophet Samuel that had to go and correct Saul and place. Nobody told you to go in there and do that. That's the problem, and they don't understand that I went in there to tell him how can he be a.
My thing is, no, what got me speeches, she said,
you had not be an ICE agent in order to be a associate pastor.
She said, I'm a reverend. I'm like, you're a reverend? Okay.
Right.
Who ordained you?
Well, even Lemon said, I'm a Christian. No,
let me see your, who ordained you? I need to see your license to be a reverend. Or you're a self-appointed reverend. There's so many self-appointed prophets, reverends, apostles, bishops, whatevers. And are you really a reverend? Because you quoting Jesus, but in your mind, you're thinking this is what Jesus would have done.
Nothing.
First of all, what Jesus would have done is were they gambling in the church?
Right.
Were they selling inside the
was that social pastor in the church trying to arrest people? No, the social pastor was not in there trying to arrest people.
I need to find Malcolm X's quote, but I don't want to put it in because it may offend some people. Even though we're on Rumble right now, so we're allowed to offend people. No offense, but be offended. Malcolm X said something, and I'm just going to indirectly quote Malcolm X. He said, for the black community about the white liberal is really bad. And and that quote has been circulating a lot. Now, these same people, again, not trying to offend, have been trying to get black folk to participate in this since it began. And I'm not sure with Nakima, I don't think she got the memo at the end of 2024. I think it was, end of 2024, there was a very large group of people saying we're not participating in any more of these activist things anymore. We're not participating because we're tired. And the tired part is more like we're tired of destroying our own community and getting no results. We destroy our community, we go through, we loot, we pillage, whatever words you can use to our communities. And when it's all said and done, now we're stuck with blight. Nobody's coming in our communities. Our insurance rates go up. Businesses are closing because they can't afford to stay open because the cost to keep their business insured is high and employee cost is high. So a lot of us said we're not going to destroy our communities anymore. That's why we're not involved in this. We said we're not doing it. My cousin was one who posted, we're not doing it. And so it circulated at the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025 before Trump was inaugurated. And they and y'all trying to find out where we at. We're not doing it.
One of the things is, and I think the problem is with Lemon, yes, you have the freedom of press, but what they were saying is the fact is you conspire. So count one was a conspiracy against rights of religious freedom at place of worship. So when you went in there, it wasn't the fact that you went in there as thinking that you were one of the agitators, but you went in there and you did not allow the pastor to go anywhere while he was saying that he had to make sure that his children was fine, but you continually wanted to have him talk. You did not allow him to leave, walk away, trying to get his congregation together, his children together. And then you did not allow And you continually asking questions as people were trying to get their stuff again. You kept asking these questions. So the right of the press left when as soon as that you decided, basically you decided not to allow these people to leave the church, because you, in your mind, you didn't think it was a service. In your mind,
it was a rally.
Right? A town hall meeting, a rally. In your mind, this was a service that they were teaching the word of God, praying. But yeah, you wanted to say, even when you asked the pastor, well, doesn't they have the First Amendment right? They didn't have the First Amendment right to be in there and do this, just like you did not have the First Amendment right to be in there and ask me questions while I'm trying to get my church together, because you continually allowing this happen. Technically, the service was probably over by that time, but that's kind of what was at. That's also one of the things, reasoning why you did not allow, you were the one to help interrupt, even though you were asking questions. But however,
he went from agitator to journalist. He code switched it, and
I don't think he was.
He code switched from I'm a journalist. Then he walked in there with the microphone on, code switch to I'm an activist. Lemon is an activist.
I don't think he didn't say anything as an activist.
I know, but I'm just going to say in general, he is an activist. He has a little temper. A lot of lemons do. He has a temper, and his temper is not.
Well, I mean, he got let go. Where was he? I don't even know where he was.
He used to be a good guy. Let me say this. I used to like him. This when he first started, he was solid. He was he was very solid towards Black America. We didn't care about his lifestyle. He was very solid, like, hey, brothers, you need to pull your pants up, you need to carry yourself a certain way. And then all of a sudden, he went from a weekend show to daily. He just switched all of a sudden to this version of a Lemon.
But I think, again, everybody has a day in court. You may not thought it was right. You may think that he had the right to be there as a journalist. He thought the problem with Lemon. He thought he had the right to be there because he said he was a journalist doing that journalist work. Yeah. No matter what, it doesn't matter. You even if you were you did not have the right as a journalist, if you were as a journalist, to go in that church, and as the agitators were disrupting the service, you did not have the right to go in there, and then as the disruption was going on, to start asking the congregation these bombarded questions and asking them what do they feel about having a associate pastor. It was a church service where they were speaking the word of God. That's what church services are. Again, as we were saying, it's not a town hall meeting. It's not a city council meeting where you can have 3 minutes to talk what you feel your purpose was. That's not what you do. And you feel like, and that woman stated, she felt like she had the right to do that, to ask those questions.
Well, see, that's the city's church. I'm not sure which church is that's next to it. The city's church building, anybody who knows that design, this building does not have a area, is a very small area, maybe between that door and the sanctuary is like you walk in, you have a little area there, and you're in the sanctuary. And in fact, when we saw the video of them leaving, that right there, going back to how people say, oh, we need to go after the guy who went into Jamal Bryant's church. No, that's not the truth. In Jamal Bryant's church, they have the vestibule area, huge area, which is probably the size of
he was still wrong too.
He was wrong, but he did not break the law, the federal law. He broke trespassing,
right?
Because he basically, this is funny, he soapbox preached.
He just went back and forth until somebody, nobody came out to get him out. So he kept doing it until he just walked him out, and he just walked out with it. He walked out. So it's like, if I go to my church, no, I won't do it. But I'm saying if somebody goes and then just starts going back and up and down the up and down the vestibule and just talking, They just talking, and you think this man is
We've had
crazy.
some people do that.
You
They
know,
have been escorted
but
out.
we do have
I've walked through that has
security.
happened.
We have security, so they probably would have just, okay, you know what, you can't disrupt us here. You're gonna have to leave. So they probably would have. But I'm just saying that basically, I mean, he wasn't interrupting any services. It was still wrong. They can charge if the church wants to charge him for criminal trespassing. It's probably a misdemeanor, and he probably only get a fine. You know, but here's her after
Her side of the story.
Her story after it started.
And I do want to correct something that was said in the beginning.
Oh, we can hear
We
it.
did not rush into that church. We actually went and sat down and participated in the service. And after the pastor prayed, that is when I stood up and asked him a question in response to his prayer. And then he responded to me. And then I proceeded to ask him about Pastor David Easterwood and how is it possible for him to serve as both the pastor and the director of ICE for Minnesota. And instead of responding to me, as soon as I said the name David Easterwood, the pastor said, shame, shame. And that is when I led us in chants, justice for Renee Good and hands up, don't shoot. So I want to clarify that. We didn't rush in. We didn't bust in. We were a part of the service until I got up and posed that question to the pastor.
All right. And obviously I'm not going to dispute.
Notice how they did not show you. Notice how they did not show you the actual feed from Lemon. What really happened. I did not hear him say shame.
I mean,
I did not hear him say, he did not say shame at all.
He actually said, when they walked in, he actually said there are seats available.
Right.
That when Lemon, because Lemon had his mic hot, had a hype mic. He said there are seats available, Rod, you can sit anywhere you like, but they decided not to stay. And then that's when that's when she said what she said after, which that part was right. She did say hands up, you know, all that.
They said that part. That
and
part
people
was
started flying out the room.
I think she heard thinking the pastor said shame. It was the congregation saying shame. He did not. His mic is louder.
Right.
We heard him.
Right.
You know, Don's mic, and I don't have my earpiece. We don't have our things, but we literally, you can play it back. It was during this part right here where he walked in the church. He was in the church. The mic was on. And
then it seemed like the reporter here on CNN, she was looking like, she's like, I got to report on this, because in your mind, just like, listen, it's just like when your child's trying to tell you a story that something happened, knowing good well this person's lying, or not speaking it's like they actually thought what they were doing is correct, but as a person on the other end listening to it, you're like, this is not correct. You know, not everybody is like, no, that don't sound right. What you did, and Lily thought she was doing something right.
And it was so funny. It's like we just said, we actually played the real time.
Right.
At first, I was sort of wavering. But after hearing the real time, what really happened with the hot mic, which is a really good microphone they had. That's a
right.
system.
And and the Bluetooth, that thing was hot. That transmitter, that's a high-powered transmitter. So maybe he was there as a reporter because he had money to buy that.
I mean, that's not a cheap microphone, because I don't even. That's not
and
cheap.
the thing with also, I'm wondering, our friend Roland, he haven't spoke on it yet. Maybe he did. I haven't seen it, but he might come back. I want to see what he was saying, because would he have done it? Would he have done the same thing?
I think Roland.
I don't think he would have done the same thing.
He would have done it.
No,
I think he would have.
Because he knew. Because he don't go stupid churches like that.
No, there is a third rail in media, and the third rail is that was the third rail he broke. If he would have walked in there, if all the people would have been flooding out the building, and he ran in there like, hey, let's go cover this, and if he didn't have it streaming live from the beginning. The dude, you streamed it. This is 40 minutes later. So we don't know how much of the live, because they kept having technical issues due to bandwidth. And 40 minutes later, which means he's probably using a bonded transmitter.
It's like somebody, you were streaming an event, like somebody getting.
Right, which we've seen on Facebook Live.
People using violence. Right, and you were streaming it, and you're saying it, I'm doing it as a reporter.
No, you're doing it as a person committed.
Right.
You're an
Yeah.
accessory.
So
Even if you didn't do it,
you were
you're
an
still an
accessory because you streamed it. It's one thing if it was like, when the Twin Towers fell and the reporters were there and they just happened to be, and when they were there, they were recording and playing it. But then when the next playing when they do it, then that's reporting because you just happened to be there and another incident happened. No, you followed and you continue to follow. And then if somebody actually discharged something, then you would have been in charge with it because you said right. So you just better be glad that there was nothing else going on in that place.
I do know that because he has money. I do know that you've seen a couple people fall out that window, out that door.
That was the key.
That right there is a civil suit right there. They may not get much, but the civil suit alone can. I mean, even the pastor can do it. They can actually file a civil suit on behalf of the ministry.
And then they want to shame the pastor for filing a civil suit. Well, this is not Jesus. He was.
Well, Jesus said it wasn't Jesus when he walked in there. You can say, well, this is what Jesus would do. No, this is not what Jesus would do. This is what a fascist would do. Yep. A fascist would do something like, oh, well, we're going to walk into this church building and do this. Like I said, we've been in that situation. People say, well, you don't understand. We've been in that situation. We've sat in a situation just like that. And so we've been there. Even though I was in the back, she was in the sanctuary. We've been through idiots coming into church and doing idiotic things and that thinking. We just didn't know that it was a federal law against that. But God took care of them for us. But how we didn't know until now that, wait a minute, they broke federal law? So we've been in that situation 10 years ago almost.
No, again, Don might get off. Who knows? He might actually get off. But I don't think there's not much chances for this woman here, the actual agitator. Yeah. I think they're not gonna get they're not gonna get off. Or anybody else who was being charged there.
I believe that the indictment, Don has money. This is one of the reasons why I tell people never laugh at somebody who is going through something because it may happen to you. He's going to spend a lot of money on attorneys, and he's going to probably will get off. However, he will end up on the civil side. There will be some kind of civil suit. I don't believe he will get prosecuted because it's still it's hard. He is after the fact. So he came the day of the event. Now, unless they have evidence or she was communicating with him during the planning of the event, then it can be deeper. But I think he's just being named because he's the big fish.
I think probably.
I would say because by him being indicted, it allows for them to have a civil suit. That's the only reason he got listed on this.
And he doesn't have to be charged or charged.
He's been
found
charged.
He had to be guilty of it in order for him to even do the civil suit.
Yeah, so he will be civilly liable.
I mean, if the pastor, again, God did talk about forgiveness too, so you better be hoping that they would go with forgiveness.
You got to worry about the members, the congregation.
And again, they that's what they're saying. They were on their platforms and they were stating on their platforms. And he said when he went in there, that's when he asked where's the hotness at? Where should I go? Where is hot? Where's going to be hot at? And that's one of the things that that's what happened.
Well, he did go to the memorial of this young lady. So he did go 2 hours. 2 hours later, he was there. So he did do journalism, but we're the problem we have in our society is we tend to want to memorialize people who do wrong. Mm-hmm. She shouldn't have lost her life. And as we say at the beginning, people say, well, ICE is not trained. I'm going to actually agree with you, but disagree with you.
Right.
ICE is not trained for what you're doing, crowd control and all this. And I've talked about this to her private, saying one of the things about this, and, if I'm really tired, I'm easily agitated. And if you make people who
That's
are in
anybody,
high
too.
energy, that they got to be on their, as they say in somewhere, their head always on the swivel, as they say. And you're keeping them sleep deprived. You're going to their hotels. You're trying to like bring me you acting like Sodom and Gomorrah. Bring them out. You know, you're literally acting like the people in the Bible. Bring them out. We want to get. And if you're sleep depriving people, they're not going to think straight. And if they're tired, they haven't slept, and they've been there for a week, and you've been banging on their doors, and yeah, they're not going to be rested. Now,
on edge. Then they've been on edge.
On the
I mean,
edge.
they've been there for almost 30 days, and I think it was 30 days at least at that point.
I don't even know what the rotation is.
Right.
The only way that they can solve the sleep deprivation is you rotate them every day. You got a team coming in, and they come in, do their job, they leave out. Don't even stay in a hotel. Get them out of there. And then the next group, because now they can't even go to. It's so bad they can't even go to the airport. It was just recently where air marshals were chased out of a restaurant in California because people thought they were ICE. And they're air marshals. Are y'all that stupid? And I don't want to sound that way, but what's wrong with you? I mean,
anything that looks like you're undercover with a badge and with a gun on,
police,
they think you're ICE. They were if you go in there with a foreign other state license plate, they were thinking that you're ICE.
One guy was like, I just want to go to the restaurant, and they're blowing their horn, chasing me. I'm not ICE. I'm just a guy trying to get some food. I'm just trying to go out and eat and enjoy myself in town. How would this affect tourism in Minneapolis? I think it's going to be a negative effect on Minneapolis, on Minnesota, the state in general. I don't think people honestly are going to want to really tour there. I mean, from what I seen in that mall, that strip mall, it looks like businesses aren't there. Looks like there are already businesses that have left.
Well, I think it's a lot, and I'm being on social. Somebody posted about the fact is it as bad as we see it as? And some people say it's not as bad as it was George Floyd. Even the George Floyd corridor, is nothing there. It's like a ghost town. It's just boarded up buildings, fire speedway, graffiti, the little box section where he died,
right.
You know, and it's a ghost. It's basically a ghost town. Nobody's there. You can see tumbleweeds going down the aisle because nothing's there anymore. It's time for the next governor and to clean it up and bring it back. It's been done. The man got arrested. The man got convicted, charged. It's time to clean that corridor up, and then maybe do maybe have like a little memorial if they want to keep this stuff going. Have a little memorial section for him. Start bringing these businesses back in your city because because now it's basically it's lawlessness. That's what it's like, the purge. When and the governor, the mayor of Minneapolis. They didn't let the police go in there. It wasn't until the second person lost their life. It wasn't until now they have to do something because now you're talking about your people.
Right.
Not if it was an ICE agent who lost their life, so what? But now you're talking about your people that are in here dying because of what your words were telling them, or what your words were telling them. Document, film, show, believing that what they were doing, that you know, and so now all of us, now you want to be able to say, okay, we know what, we got to figure this out. So now you want to get in contact with Trump. Trump didn't answer right away.
No,
he didn't answer right away. So he waited a couple of days, then he answered, and then he sent Tom Holman down there, and now everybody is want to be okay. Well, we want to say what we need to do. So now the police officers' hands are untied. Now the police officers are there. Now it's called unlawful trespassing, unlawful something. And then they didn't have gates at the time going into the detention center. Now they have gates where now they have fences rather. So now everybody has to be behind the fence. And then we don't see too much more now going on in Minneapolis where these ICE agents were in the streets or what have you. So we don't see too much more about that. Now they're going into California, that they're going into other areas of this, and now everybody's talking about the Olympics. The ICE agent doesn't want to be part of it. They said we don't want ICE there. Department of Defense or Department of Justice? Is it Department or Homeland Security? Homeland Security is always at these events for security reasons. Period. Why would somebody go to Milan? Why would American ICE agents go to Milan and try to? Who you ain't gonna?
In fact, if ICE agents are sent there, they're sent there as protectors.
Right.
They're protecting. First of all, when I started seeing these stupid posts coming from these so-called advocacy countries that are already jacked up anyway, we're not going to talk about those countries that had the worst immigrate. They're worse than us. They got some countries have been 80% immigrants have taken over the country, but we'll leave that alone. It's part of I think they're an EU nation. But for you to set up here and say, we don't want ICE is not welcome here for the Olympics, that's when the president could say, well, maybe our athletes aren't allowed either, because who's going to protect them?
Right.
There's not enough. We have to have, so what all Trump has to really say is, okay, well, ICE is not allowed. We'll just make sure I said a couple battalions of Marines, and they're going to be fully armed up. So what would you rather have? Agents who are plain clothes that are plain clothes with their badge, protecting because we've had situations, if we go through history, we've had athletes murdered. And so what would you rather have? Us have the military guard them, or would you rather us have agents who are trained in protecting people? And just like she said, there was a list of things they wanted to ban, Secret Service, and I'm like, when she said when she had that list of things they want to ban, and it said Secret Service, I'm going.
I can't say that. They wanted to ban all federal agents that does like police, anything that deals with federal agents, DHS. They wanted to get rid of DHS. They wanted to get rid of Secret Service, ICE. They wanted to get rid of like 5 agents that deals with policing. And it's like, if you get rid of all that, well, who?
Well,
we definitely will have the purge, because now everything is going to be on the but yeah, also in the same breath, you talking about defunding the police. They just want to get rid of anything that deals with law.
But basically. See what's so funny? Get rid of Secret Service. Hey, honey, you know what? I need to print me $1 million.
Right.
I can print me money and just go spend it, because there's no department.
Right.
To say that my money's, who says my money's counterfeit? Call Secret Service. Oh, they don't exist. Well, it's real. I printed $10 million and I'm spending my $10
Secret Service is part of the Treasury.
Secret Service is the Treasury Department, aka the banks. For those who don't really understand it, the banks protect the presidents, former and current. So you say get rid of Secret Service. So who's going to protect your people? Who's going to protect the former vice presidents? The people y'all worship, because some of these, both sides, people worship these presidents. Who's going to protect them? You're talking about get rid of Secret Service. What's wrong with you? It's like the purge. Okay, well, Hunger Games, I think they're trying to go for, or Squid Games maybe. Maybe they're trying to get Squid Games going. We have anything else?
No, that was pretty much. I was thinking if I could find it, but I don't think I could find it. But
we've been on for an hour and a half, y'all.
Yeah. I hope it was informative. I hope you guys have stayed in and tuned in and watched us go through this.
Watching.
That's not too many people.
Well, they came in and came out. That's good.
They came in and came out. Yeah.
I think one of the things, and we didn't even get to. Let me find out where that input is, because we're basically wrapping it up. Then we'll click the close button here. We're gonna get to our thing here. Let's see.
And he was, as you were saying, yeah. He's going to have his day in court, and I don't think he's going to get charged. No. But he said, they got him. He said, "Come get me. You can't get me," and all that. So they said, "Okay." And I don't like to go into politics too much now, but people are like, "This is frivolous. This is bad." But what more have y'all done when it came to Trump? And all that stuff that y'all started bombarding him the right before the election. You know, they got him, they convicted for, he got bombarded, they got everything. So look, And now they're saying, "Oh, that's because you're going after your political opponents."
Trump is that Lemon's political opponent.
Going after, and that's what when Bondi was getting hired. Are you not going to go and do everything that he tells you to do? Are you not going to? I'm going to do what's going on. Are you not going to do it? That's what they want to kept telling her.
And here's one quick thing I have to say: everybody who Lemon was one of the number one cheerleaders of Arrest Trump. He was the main one, Arrest Trump, celebrating his arrestment, his indictments, Giuliani's indictments, all those indictments that went against Republicans. He was one of the main ones celebrating it. And now he's indicted. And is it frivolous? No, we saw the video. You go to YouTube, go to his channel, and go click under the live tab, and you can watch it. And you can see it for yourself.
I mean, that's no different than what Fonnie Willis did in Fulton County.
Oh, we won't even talk about
You talking
that.
about she dragged 25 people in on a RICO because they were
rappers.
No, that's something.
About the rappers?
No, I was talking about the RICO for the election fraud interference. She dragged out. So it's no different than that. What they did. But come to Ashley Merchant did her job and did her thing, and they were able to, so that whole case got dropped and dismissed because whatever. But anyway, I ain't going into that. And so, I mean, it's that even if it was still going, he would still had to get his day in court. That's just exactly what's going on with Lemon. He's still going to have to get his day in court. He's still going to have, and it only takes 25%. Everybody hates the grand jury, but when the grand jury was
against a Republican, but now when it's against a
right.
Democrat, this is so wrong.
We got to get rid of the grand jury. We got to get rid of this. We got to get rid of that.
We got to get rid of electoral college because when people don't get their way, it's something's broken. Anyway, let's do something on fun note. As y'all know, there's something new.
Yes, restructuring, rebranding.
Why I close my iPad because we can show.
Right.
We'll be back Sunday.
Yes.
We got to do Sunday. It would be our normal program.
We got to write a new website. Come to our website. You can watch us live. Watch our shows on our website. We can also go to our socials platforms. You can watch us on social platforms, and also you can.
There it
is. You can, you would like to leave a tip, you can go to leave a tip. So each one of those.
Right there. Tip jars right there on there. And you can see where we air. Some of the platforms we're on. Of course, you're on Rumble with us. RTN, Cashmere.
RTN. Thank you, RTN, for joining us.
And
our new platform.
You can see our featured, our spotlight episodes, and you scroll down. You see our featured podcast, which is our current ones. You can see where we did episode 311. This one here will be on there. And then when you click on it, you get some information. So this is a brand new site. And you can actually go to our site and you can read a little bit more descriptions, a little bit more. And then you keep on scrolling. And guess what you can leave? You can leave a tip right there. Yes. Not that we're not begging for money. How we're just trying to make it easier for people who want to visit our site and watch our content. Then we have our merch store. For those who are not aware of our merch store, it's coming up. There it is. And then our merch store is right here. And this is what we have available currently. We do have a blanket. I'm still on it. But it's actually a comfortable blanket. It's just some things I'm still looking at. But these are the merch that's now available for you to go on ahead and support us through merch. You can get yourself a couple cups. You can get yourself, get some of these great cups. I mean, this is my favorite cup. One of my favorite. I pretty much drink out of this one right here. It says 7 days a week on the back. And but the one I drink out of, this is my mug, my 20-ounce mug. Every morning you see me drinking out of my Trust the Process mug, and then you see me with my Faith Over Fear. Then you can see the other one that has the 7 days a week multicolored. So we do Have some great merch for you. We have so much stuff going on. And then as soon as I click this button here so we can get on out. So there's a lot going on with us, GarrettsHousePodcast.com. We thank you for watching and just hanging out with us for over an hour and a half. And we'll see you Sunday. Again, I'm Darnell.
I'm Angela.
And thanks for watching Garrett's House. See you later.